Hi guys, it's Nicole. I'm starting my YouTube channel today for the young single mothers like myself out there. Today's video is on dating do's and don'ts, so without further ado, I'd like to get started. Okay, so you want to get back in the dating game after having kids. There is probably a lot on your mind, as there was on mine when I first, jumped back in the field, so to say. What I've found as some of the biggest do's as well as some of the biggest don'ts, I will share with you in a few short moments. Do's number one. I think that putting your best foot forward is very important. However, when you are dating as a young single mom, be upfront, be honest, and be vulnerable. Those are probably the three hardest things for people to do. However, I found that they are the most helpful. When you're upfront and you're honest about what you're looking for in a relationship, and you let yourself be vulnerable and be honest with yourself as well as the other person early on in a relationship, you guys are kind of forced to see if this is something that you truly want to pursue and want to keep getting to know each other, because you guys might not be on the same page. They might just be dating around. They might not be interested in being with someone with kids. You might not like their lifestyle, your job schedules might not line up. There's so many things that could go wrong, and there's so many things that, could go positive or, a turn for the better. But you won't know that until you have that honest conversation early on. What your goals are short term as well as long term, what you're looking for, what your interests and hobbies are. And I think that that is very key to a successful relationship if longevity is your goal when you are a young single mother. Another do I found is dating with a purpose. I no longer go on dinner dates because I found that, or movie dates, I found that they're a little awkward, they're a little more formal, and it doesn't fit into my usual day-to-day life. So I try to find dates that are obviously not a movie. I want dates that I'm able to communicate and kind of actually get to know that the person I'm on a date with. I also try to think of dates that are something I would want to do in my free time or with my kids. So I will go to the gym a lot. I will go to the museum. I will go to like an art event or a local show. Something that I would want to do even with my girlfriends or even with my kids. Also, that shows if you truly have some of the same interests. I think that that is key to dating effectively and purposefully. Another do I found, or something that you want to do, I should say, before getting back out there, is finding yourself and grounding yourself in who you are. I've dated a couple people since my kids, and I found that earlier on, I still didn't know who I was outside of being a mom, and it made dating kind of hard. Not because I wasn't interested in other people, but because I felt like I wasn't very interesting myself. I didn't know who I was outside of my children. So it took me getting back out there for myself. What I mean by that is I started going to the gym, I started getting involved in different organizations, different community groups. I started meditating again. I started reading again. And I just started doing stuff for me that felt good for me. And I kind of refound myself after having my kids before I started dating again. And I think that that keeps me interesting, it keeps me youthful, and it keeps me grounded in knowing who I am when I am looking for a partner or a future spouse. Dating don'ts. And this list could probably go on, but I'm trying to keep it specific to the young single mom trying to get back out there again. Okay, so dating don'ts. I think that it is the number one hardest thing, for me at least, is to not compare whoever I'm out with my kid's father. Now, my kid's dad is absent. However, I feel like I have some baggage emotionally or insecurities, if you will, because of that relationship. Now, it ended like about 3 years ago. However, I thought I was going to end up being with that person forever, and we were together for 3 years. So that is what I was used to. It was my first real relationship, if you will, and I am young, and I was even younger when I was in that relationship. So I think that when I'm out there dating, I can't compare, things that I notice about the new man to my old. As far as like pet peeves, or assuming that he might cheat on me because I've been cheated on before, or assuming that he's into this kind of woman because my ex was. Immature things like that might cloud your vision, and it might not give you the best foot forward with someone new, because you might have um, some sort of perception already about who they might be, as well as it affects how you view yourself, and it affects your confidence level. So realizing that no woman is the same, just like I don't want to be compared to their exes, I think I have to also remind myself that they are not my kid's father. They are their own person. And I think that kind of gives you a fresh slate, and reaffirming that to yourself lets them have an opportunity to show them who they are and what they have to offer to the table. Having said that, I never ever act like the man I'm seeing needs to play the role of a step parent. I never want to force something that isn't natural for them as well as for my kids. It just makes a really uncomfortable situation. I just ask that they understand that my time is limited and that I have to play the role of both parents. And I think that setting that as a ground rule takes some of the pressure off of them, and it takes the pressure off of you, because there's no unspoken expectations. It's just you truly seeing if that person is a good fit for yourself before you can even, take a step to see if they are a good fit for your family, because you are looking for a partner for yourself. You're not looking for a housemate. And I think that is a clear vision to paint when you first get to know a guy and you let them know that you do have children. I think that you should never apologize for being a mom. I think that you should never apologize for needing to end a date early because of your kids. I think that it is okay to cancel and reschedule if you've had a long day with your children, and when that 8 o'clock date comes around, you're too tired. I think that sometimes I get so caught up in wanting to be an eligible bachelorette or a catch that I start compensating for my day-to-day routine, for my responsibilities. And then I need to realize, just because I have kids and my responsibilities might fall in the form of two little people, everyone has responsibilities, everyone has obligations. And it's just part of who I am. And I think that comes from a lot of self-acceptance, which again is key to finding yourself before you get out in the dating field. But once you start acting like your kids and your mom life is a burden, they might start to see that as a burden too, and they might second guess getting to know you. If you're insecure about your daily routine and your daily responsibilities, you will never find someone else who wants to be a part of that. You have to be excited about your life. You have to be excited about who you are and about being a mom. And you have to show them that, you love being a mom, you love your kids, you love your life, and that's not going to change. And once you do that, I think that it allows them to truly think again if this is something that they want long term, or if this isn't something that they're ready for. But I never think you should apologize for not being the typical, young 20-something-year-old that some of your peers are because you have children, because it's just your new normal, and the right guy will accept you for your new normal. I will share 2 takeaways I've gained from dating. Since my kids, I dated 2 different kinds of guys, both very different, both very awesome, and it just didn't work out. The first guy I was with, it was about a year ago, and he was in his mid-30s, which is significantly older than me. It was about in a 12-year age gap, but they had their own house, had their own job. They were a great person. They also had kids and seemed to be a great parent. However, they shared custody, and in their free time, they still wanted to live like an eligible bachelor, going out to bars, going to clubs, and it just didn't match up what I like to do in my free time. And that's okay too. But on paper, I thought, he had his own house, his own job, he was older, more established. I thought that it would be a great fit. And then I had to still just take a look as to who they were, outside of their professional life, and it just wasn't a good fit. The second guy I was with is in his early 20s, was a college athlete, and valued family, didn't go out drinking, didn't smoke, wasn't really a party animal, so I was really excited about that. However, they were still interested in just dating around and playing the field, and they weren't ready for something long term. And that's okay too, but I'm really glad I found that early on so that I avoided heartbreak on both ends as well as for my children. So I think that most of the time it comes down to longevity and if your lifestyles match. Because if someone's not looking for something long term, it doesn't matter how great that person is or how great you are. If they're not ready, they're not ready. Also, lifestyle match is a very key thing for me because if your work schedules don't add up, if you guys don't have the same interests and same hobbies and same, you know, I guess the same mesh, if you guys don't mesh naturally, I don't think it's something worth forcing. You already have two responsibilities and two people that you kind of are forced to make mesh, like your kids. Some days, you know, it's easier and some days it's harder. So if you're with someone that is a constant struggle to try to find time for and, you know, line up your schedules, it might not be something that you just want to deal with at this point of your life, and that's okay too. So I think finding someone that your lifestyles match up with, finding someone seeking something long term is very key to dating effectively as a young single mother. So again, I'm Nicole. I try to keep that video nice, short, sweet, to the point. If you have any advice, feedback, anything you want to comment below, I'd love to read the messages. I look forward to having other topics of discussion on here. If there's anything you would like me to speak on, please just feel free to email or comment below. Again, I will be checking the comments, so feel free to subscribe, like, or comment. I look forward to chatting and touching base with you guys all soon. Ciao.